Coach Boeheim and Buddy Boeheim. How you doing, sir?
We're good up here. It's been 70 degrees in Syracuse in November. How about that?
Isn't that crazy? I mean, it was beautiful down here too in Maryland. I mean, I want to thank y'all for taking the time to come on the Rematch, basketballnews.com and Fly TV. I appreciate it. There's a lot that I want to talk to y'all about. First of all, everybody healthy? Now these COVID times, that's the first thing you have to ask. Everybody healthy? Everybody good?
We've been good. We've been here since July 2nd, testing and getting practice in, and I mean it's July, August, September, October. It's been 4 months already, so
wow.
We're kind of getting anxious to get to the season, and hopefully everybody will be good. I mean, there's a lot of protocols in place, and all these other leagues have been able to play, and hopefully we're going to be able to play basketball this year, starting at the end of November. But you just got to hope for the best, and players are being smart. They're isolating. They're not going to parties, and that's where most of this stuff happens. You just go out to some big party, and that's when you get in these COVID problems. So players have been really good. They're dedicated to what we're trying to do, and it's a little tough, but it's better than getting sick.
And let me ask you that, buddy, because I know, I'm sure you're looking forward to this season. And, building, you had a great season last year. You're getting better and better each year. The first year you was more, spot-up shooter. Then you added the pump fake, two-dribble pull-up, going to the basket, being aggressive. I was loving it. How much are you looking forward to playing this year?
I can't wait. I mean, just, spending 4 or 5 months in home, in quarantine, I was just – working out every day, and made me want to get back even more, and being back with my teammates and the coaches has just been, it's been great. Putting aside this, this tough time, being able to go to the gym every day and practice and be with my team is, it's been great. And we all just can't wait to get back on the court now and, play games. We know fans probably won't be allowed to be in the dome, but we know they'll be watching. So just excited to, show how much we've been working, and this is a really good group. So just we're all itching to get out there.
And y'all were having some intense workouts. I saw one thing, I think it was during TBT, Coach, you called it, you was down there in the basement. I was like, that's a full gym. Yeah, that's not quite a basement, but y'all was having some I saw Demendorf in there. I saw you and your brother going at it. Y'all was going at it, right?
Yeah, definitely. Eric and my brother are two of the most competitive guys I know, so we would go at it for 2 hours a day, and Eric's as fierce as it gets, and if he loses, he's coming right back at us. So it's a lot of fun, and we had a lot of good times during quarantine playing one-on-one and stuff like that.
They were lucky that they got these workouts in. It was great for Eric's as good as anybody driving the basketball, as he's very hard to guard, if not impossible.
Right.
I don't care whether you're in college or the NBA, he's hard to guard.
Right.
And, so it was good. It was a good workout. Good workouts this summer. It was good having the half court in our basement. A lot of our players couldn't find a place to work out. They were going outdoors, shooting outdoors, or trying to run outdoors. It was tough, but that's why we were glad we could get everybody back here in July. Get them in the gym. Get them with our strength coach. Players and kids are better off on campus when you look at all the COVID stuff going on. I think they're safer on campuses than in school, because you're watching them. They're thinking about being careful, and I think it's been a good thing for us having everybody back up here.
And that's been my kind of question and concern, as long with all of America. It's just, how do we navigate through this COVID situation and be able to start college, start regular classes and start, the seasons. And I want to ask you, as far as you see different outbreaks happening in different universities, especially once they first opened up. You saw, Notre Dame, you saw North Carolina, you saw different. And then as far as college football, you saw a lot of different outbreaks. What is different about what's going on? Because Syracuse, from what I've been seeing, hasn't really had a huge outbreak like some of the other universities have. What have they been doing differently?
Well, the chancellor decided in the beginning he was going to bring everybody back. He was going to test everybody. If anybody congregated, they were going to watch it. They were going to, they've thrown some people out of school. They've disciplined people. But part of it, if you look at, there were some football programs that had 30, 40 guys out, but they all came back in practice. I mean, healthy young people usually can handle this, or I think always can handle this and come back and play. But so it's a challenge. It is definitely a challenge, and most schools have already gone through some and have been able to bounce back. I mean, you saw Clemson and Notre Dame play one of the great football games of all time the other night, and they've both gone through testing problems and positive tests. But my feeling, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a health expert. I don't see this going away. I think we've got to work on how we can cope with it, whether it's business or owning a restaurant or schools or playing. I think we've got to figure out the best we can how we get through this and have as normal a life as we can, because if there is no vaccine that really works or that people will take for a while, we can't just stand still. So hopefully we're going to be able to work our way through this. That's what we're trying to do. And if you look around the country, most sports have been able to do it. Baseball had a little trouble in the beginning, but they traveled and they played their season and they played their playoffs and were successful.
So let me ask you this, and this is a question, because a lot of the stuff, people ask and they just don't really know the answers to. Is there a universal protocol for coronavirus per conference? Is it for NCAA? Like what system are they going on?
Well, the NCAA has guidelines. Each conference has guidelines. For example, in the ACC, we're testing right now once a week, but when we start competition, we're going to test 3 times a week. So we should be able to get the games healthy, and keep, players that, if somebody is a positive, being able to take him out and monitor the other guys. But that's all still to be determined. This is an unknown area. And we're timing how much our players are together so that if somebody on our team did be a positive and they're not around the other players that much, except for brief moments in practice situations, that the other player wouldn't have to quarantine. But those are things that are all being worked through. But basically, everybody's testing, and everybody that we play will be testing 3 times a week. So we're very hopeful that we can get through this and get to games and to get through the season.
Let me just ask you, how fast do they get the results once they're tested? Because that was another, area of concern with different. Some people are having to wait, 2 or 3 days. Some people somehow got a rush where they was getting the results back the next day. What system are you on, and how long does it take to get the results?
The rapid testing you can get back the same day. If you're not in rapid testing, then it's usually the next day. But by the time the season comes, we'll be testing 3 times a week and get the results back, hopefully no later than the next day.
Interesting. So, I know it's a tough situation, and I know everybody's just trying to figure it out as we go. Here with my kids in youth sports down here in Maryland, I think it's a wash. We're probably going to hold them out regardless of what happens. But at universities, it appears as though they have a little bit more, of course they have more funding, more ability to be able to implement better procedures. And it's just, one of those things where, people are getting different information. And it's kind of hard to, people trying to disseminate, okay, what's the truth or what's not the truth? How worried should we be? And that's the tough part. But I got to say, so far, with at Syracuse, the numbers have been low. The number of positive cases have been relatively low.
Yeah, and that can change. I mean, unfortunately, it can change. Just some kids just get a little carried away and go out. And if you get groups, all of a sudden, you can get 30 or 40 cases if you're going in big groups. We've avoided that. We have just another couple of weeks of school before we're going to send everybody home for Thanksgiving right until late January. So that's what we're trying to do. But again, nothing seems to transpire on the court or on the field. It doesn't seem like, talking to the NCAA doctors, that if you play a basketball game, you're going to transmit COVID on the court. It doesn't seem to be that way. All the football games, all the soccer games you see, the baseball games that were all played, all the cases were from players going out in the community, going to a club, going to dinner. They weren't transmitted on the field. And I think that's an important thing for us to learn going forward, that this isn't happening out there in the field. It's happening at parties or restaurants or going to the store, things of that nature. So hopefully we're learning about this, but we still have a lot to learn.
Right.
And I'm afraid that we have still quite a long ways to go. I think that we hopefully now understand that we need to wear masks and we need to wash our hands and we need to socially distance as much as possible.
Right.
And that will make a difference. And I think that hopefully we'll start doing more of that.
I mean, is there a mask mandate on campus?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because that's not the same thing every place. Every place doesn't have the same mask mandate, right?
It's pretty. There's a mandate on campus we can control, but in the city there isn't. But I think generally, whenever I've been out anywhere, everybody's wearing their mask.
Okay, that's good.
I have not been to a store or a restaurant or any public place that people haven't worn masks here. People are pretty good. We've taken the count way down in New York State. We were the worst in the beginning of COVID, mainly in New York City.
Right.
But now we're one of the better states. But we've had a flare up in the last couple of weeks, so it's not something that is going to go away. And, but most everybody up here wears masks.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear. Well, switching gears a little bit, I saw that 100% of the team, eligible team, and the staff all voted in the last election. I thought that was a great stat to be able to see. How did that come about, and what were the efforts of pushing? I'll start with you, buddy. What was important about this election for you to be involved in this process?
Really just, trying to make change, knowing with everything that happened in the, past year or so with, everything going on and Black Lives Matter and, making sure that we'd make the change through voting, which was the biggest way to, make the change, doing all these, protests and marching, which was all great stuff. But knowing that the biggest thing to get done was through voting. And, we made sure as a team that was one of the first things we mentioned for, trying to make a change was to get everyone registered to vote. And, the coaches all did a great job of, making sure we were registered, checking in with us, every week by week, seeing if we were, and, making it a priority that we were registered to vote and we would all, be voting so we could, make that change we wanted to do.
When you look at a state like Pennsylvania where it was, in Georgia where it's 8,000, 10,000 vote differential for a long time, when you think about it, all these college kids that voted, registered absentee, there's thousands. I was talking to the Cornell athletic director. They have 1,100 athletes at Cornell. And they all registered from what I know. And here, all of our athletes registered. You start getting that many young people to register to vote and send their ballots in. That in a real close state, in a real close election in a state, that could swing an election. And definitely. I just think that in general, obviously, as we look at the numbers, more people voted than ever, and I think more people really wanted it. They waited in line. They did whatever it took to vote. I think years ago, if you went to the voting place and you had to wait 10 minutes, a lot of people just went home. Now they waited hours and they voted. So I think that's good. It's good for our country. And I think in the long run, I think we're just much more aware. And if we make all the college students and high school students aware of this, that same group's going to come back next year, and then there's going to be another edition, another class added on.
Right.
So I think it's a big movement in American history. I'm a history major. I just think this is a big movement for this country moving forward. When you get so many young people engaged, and I told my class, I said, I don't care who you vote for, you just need to vote, and you need to try to familiarize yourself with who you're voting for and why you're voting for them. And I think we're coming. I think we've come a long ways, and the best way for change is with young people.
Right.
It's simple as that. And we still have a ways to go, but I think we're on the right track right now.
And what were the conversations like in the locker room around voting and around the elections and politics and everything that was going on? How were the conversations?
I mean, really just, we talk here and there, obviously, about it. I mean, everyone has their own opinions, but just making sure that, we were making the right decision and, talking it out, hearing each other's values and what's important. And, I think we all, are kind of on the same page. We all know, what our values are and what's important. And, it's kind of cool hearing, we got guys from all different backgrounds. So just getting a little bit of everything, it was great for us. And, it's really, I think we learned a lot about each other and just the situation. So it was good for us.
I've been really proud of the way that, the team in general has really stepped up to the plate and stepped up to the forefront when different things were going on. Coach, you've always been someone who isn't afraid to voice your opinion publicly. And I remember after George Floyd happened, and I read a few articles where you were speaking very directly to it, not generically and not trying to dance around the issues or anything like that, but you're speaking directly to it with what it meant to you. And you talked about a Zoom call that you had with the players after. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, this is something that when you see this, and it's one thing to talk about, obviously, which you have to talk about it first. And then the main thing is, what are we doing about it? And I know that you know that, but it's such a shocking thing to see. And there's other examples. George Floyd's not the only example.
Right.
There's other examples, and it has to wake people up to say, okay, let's do something. And what we said right away is, let's vote. Let's get everybody out to vote. So if we are all voting and trying to get the candidates we like, who we think will help with police reform, candidates that will help with certain tax situation, the way the tax structure is. Those are the things that have got to change. And the only way you can change those is by electing people that are willing to change those laws, and particularly, especially in terms of tax and taxation and all the different programs that are out there, and to figure out immigration, which I think is still one of the most important things we need to do. We can't have people in this country who were born in this country and been here for 30 years and then saying, well, no, they're not. They don't belong here.
Right.
We can't have that. And any common sense would tell you we can't have that.
Right.
The political football, and people don't want to give it, because it's all politics.
Right.
We have to let people that are willing to vote that, yeah, these people are citizens. We should. They're not going anywhere. That's what has made this country great. If you look back at American history, it's all immigrants who've done the work, a lot of the hard work, and a lot of the work that's made this country what it is today. And it's not time right now to stop immigration. And it's something we've got to figure out, and hopefully we can do a better job. And the best way to figure things out is if we can ever work together politically. In the last 10 to 12 to 16 years, we haven't been able to work together politically at all, in no way, shape, or form. And maybe we can't. I mean, maybe we're at a point where we can, but I think that the president-elect is going to try to work together. Whether that can be done, if you're skeptical, you probably are going to be skeptical about it.
Right.
But somehow we've got to work together to get things changed. And that's what I hope anyway.
After George Floyd happened, and this is, something that I saw more conversations happening. I saw more conversations of different races, of Black and white people. I would probably say, in my lifetime, that was probably the most white people that I saw actually protesting the death of a Black man by the police in my lifetime that I've ever seen. There was something different about George Floyd. And me and Buddy, we talked on a few different programs, and we talked about the importance of allies and how you wanted to be an ally and how you wanted to push for something to be different. And you're talking to your Black teammates, and they're experiencing something that you might not necessarily have to experience. It might not be your world, but you know enough to be able to say it's not right, that that's your reality. And those are the conversations. And I saw the Syracuse team being an example of that and being an example for other programs across the country. How did that become about? Even with the video that you did, No Excuse, that you teamed up with Carmelo, and I thought that was a great video. Tell me how that video came about and why you decided to put that out there. You didn't just put a statement that said Black Lives Matter, or a statement that said you wanted to put an actual video so you could show your, actual feeling behind everything. Tell me about how that came about.
Well, it wasn't enough just to put a statement out. We knew that. We wanted to do more. What we did was better, but we still have to go beyond that. But the video was just to try to go a step further, and then getting people out to vote another step, working with different groups moving forward, include working with the police moving forward. There's some teams that have worked with police departments in the past and done things, basketball, clinic related things with the police department. I mean, these are things that have to be done. When it comes to this movement or any movement, there's going to be people on the far right you're never going to reach. It doesn't matter what happens. They're not going to come along. And just as there's people on the far left that you can never quite go to where they may want to go. But if we can get the middle group big enough to create change, they'll have to go along. They have no choice. They'll go along with what happens. So that's what I think the goal is, to get back to the middle, that big group, and make that group bigger so that we can move forward and accomplish change. Young people want change. I don't think there's anybody in the young group of people that I know or work with who is pushed so far right that they can't see that there needs to be change. They see them. I mean, there's the older segment of the population is never going to change.
Right.
It doesn't matter whether we educate them or teach them, it's not going to change.
That's a good point.
We need to change the younger people who can be changed and want to change. And if we grow that group over the next 10 years, then we're going to see significant change in this country. But it's going to take a tremendous effort, and it's not going to happen without that effort from all of us, from everybody.
Buddy, what was the reaction that you got from, the people of Syracuse, people on campus, after you all began talking publicly about Black Lives Matter, talking about George Floyd, after you made the video, No Excuse? What was the reaction that you got from them?
It was really obviously great. Just a lot of people are already supportive of us and the team, and they like that we're using our platform. I mean, one of the first things we said in our Zoom meetings was, we have 100,000 followers on Instagram. We have the Cuse basketball account. We have, everyone in the community knows who we are, and just being able to use our voices was huge for us, and use our platforms. It was kind of like last year when we wore the Not Again SU warm-up shirts. A lot of students reached out to us about, how great that was. And just similar to that, being able to use, our voice is always something we want to do right away. And just, it means a lot that we have that, responsibility and platform to get our voice heard and, express, how we feel.
You brought up the Not Again SU, and I remember even looking at it when y'all went down to the demonstration, to the sit-in, and you spoke to the students. I thought that was great. That there was a lot that happened on campus last year racially. A lot of racial incidents happened, and I just thought the fact that you took Buddy, Elijah Hughes, and y'all went down there and spoke to them. What did you learn from that experience, Buddy, from listening to, and it was an intense situation. There were a lot of emotions going on during the whole meeting. I watched the whole thing, but what was your takeaway from that?
Really just, how important it is, to the campus and the students, and how much, important it is for me to listen and try to understand and, try to help them as well as I can. Because, like you said, I won't understand how they feel specifically as a white person, but being able to use my voice and be an ally and see, how I can help them is always important, and educate myself. And I think that was just a really good learning experience. I've never really had a situation like that where I went in and, was able to talk and interact with the students and hear what they wanted and, how they felt. So I really just felt their emotions, and, it was definitely a great experience, and something that, I'll look back on for a while and, use that situation going forward.
I think for me too, Etan, I think it was a learning experience. Even at 75 years old, I think you still learn. I was at Syracuse, one of the very first university that had African-American students come to school in the 60s, 1962. I remember we had, I think at that time, maybe 40 or 50 African-American students on campus, and that was a lot for a university in the Northeast.
Right.
Had none or very few. And through the years, we've grown that African-American community at Syracuse, and at one time we had about 20% of the student body African-Americans. It's slightly lower now, but overall it's diversity, minority students are still over 20%.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always felt we were diverse, but I think within the African-American group, and I think with Asian students, they felt some things were not being met here, some of their needs.
Okay.
Sometimes you don't see that, unless you go down, and you could see it was very real talking to the students, how they really felt they needed to have things done, changes made. And I think the chancellor listened. I think they changed, they adopted 16 of the points or platforms that the students wanted. Not all, some they didn't or couldn't do. I don't think when you're a protester, you're ever happy. You want to get everything, but
right.
A lot was done. And I think a lot will be done moving forward. So I think it was a tough thing to see, but it was also a good thing to see the university react and try to do things to answer the questions the students had. And
right.
Like I said, that's always difficult. You're when you have discussions like that and make bargaining situations like that, one side is never happy, whatever side it is. And any negotiation, I don't think you ever have both sides coming away feeling, well, we did great. That's never gonna happen.
Right.
But it was good, and I think a lot of things were done, and a lot of things are going to be done moving forward. So hopefully that will make Syracuse University a stronger university and help our students.
We formulated a group called the Black Oranges, and former SU players, athletes, and we just had a town hall with Chief Maldonado from DPS, and I was encouraged after the town hall that it was a good first step. It was a good way to end it, and it's just amazing the power of the athlete voice, and you don't really realize it, until afterwards. When you're in it, because a lot of the Not Again SU students, a lot of the current students, They saw when you wore the Not Again SU t-shirts, and it made them feel that you were, standing in solidarity with them.
Yeah.
And and that amount of support. Now, I do want to ask you, how did that idea come about to be able to make that statement? Because it was a statement where, I'm sure you had a lot of pushback from different directions of maybe that wasn't the best statement for you all to make. But how did that come about, that you wanted to make that as a collective unit, the entire team wearing the Not Again SU shirts?
Well, the players, and Buddy can speak this. This was, a lot of people say, "Why wasn't this your idea, Coach?" It wasn't my idea. It was the players.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my agreement with it, which was obviously has to happen, and I was happy to agree. But it was really come from the players. Buddy, Elijah probably was.
Elijah was one of the main guys.
Elijah. Okay. Who was our captain and our best player. And once they came up with that, it was a great idea. I wish I'd have had it, but as we move forward this year, we're going to do things with the uniform in terms of recognizing Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
Both on the back of the uniform with patches, and hopefully with real programs moving forward that can make a difference.
That's good. I think that's good stuff. I mean, the athlete platform is such a major one, and the way that y'all are using it and not being afraid to use it, I think it really speaks volumes. Okay, so I gotta ask a question. Switch gears a little bit, and this is a question everybody always wants to ask. You mentioned, the 75-year-old coach. I think you're gonna be coaching till you're 90, to be honest with you. But so the question is, after Buddy leaves, what's the plan then? Now I gotta ask you. I gotta ask you.
Everybody assumes that when Buddy leaves, I'm leaving, and there's never been any thought to that. I didn't stay just to coach Buddy. I stayed to coach. I would never stay to coach here just because my son's playing here. That would be foolish. I mean, you never want to coach. You're going to want to coach the team. Right. And it's nice that I can have my son on the team. And as long as he plays good, he's going to play a lot and be productive. And I'll be happy. My wife will not throw me out of the house. But he's doing better as a player. He's earned his way in, and I'm really happy for him, what he's done. He's been a big part of our team last year, a big part of our success. We finished the year very strong. I was very happy without having any seniors and a freshman point guard, and we have all those guys back. We lose one guy. We have everybody else back. We added a couple nice pieces. So I think we're going to have a chance to be really good this year. But it's, I feel better than I've felt in a long time. I work out more now than I ever have. I didn't work out from 25 to 68. I didn't work out. I just played golf. That's it. I started working out, doing Pilates at 68 or 9, and that's really helped me. And I started swimming this last year and swim 6 days a week, and that's a good thing for you. So as long as I feel good and healthy, I like coach. This isn't construction work. This isn't where you have to go out and work like manually every day. I just have to stand on the sidelines and yell at people. My voice is good, so I don't have a problem with that. Warren Buffett's still doing pretty good, and he's what, 90?
I hear you. So I asked him, and Buddy, this is one of the first conversations that we had. I coach my son's AAU team, and there's a lot of different dynamics with coaching your own son. And so I wanted to delve into that a little bit. So I want to ask Buddy, is it hard having your dad as a coach? Do you feel sometimes that he has to make an example out of you? You know what I mean? So it doesn't look like there's any more favoritism going on. So he has to be a little extra tough on you. Like, describe how it is playing for your dad.
No, honestly, it's been great. I mean, ever since I got here, not even him, just, Coach Red, Coach Griffin, Coach GMAC are like, family to me as well. So having them on the sidelines helps a lot also. They know me so well. And, my dad obviously knows me so well. And he's been kind of a coach for me since I was a kid. So, I knew what I was coming into. I've been to the practices when I was a kid. I've seen him, cuss out guys and get out with them. And, coming in, I wanted, that too. I wanted to be treated just like a regular player. And, when I get yelled at, take it as another player. And I'm happy I'm getting yelled at too and not, any special treatment or anything. So I think that I've adjusted well to it. And, knowing there's going to be people on the outside saying stuff about how I'm the coach's kid. That's why I'm playing. But, trying to, get better every day and just focus on playing and winning.
Well, what's interesting, and you remember it, and I was not as big a yeller as people think. I mean, but I even learned with you that you really didn't react well to being yelled at. And I think in terms of you especially, because I remember after a couple of years saying, this obviously isn't working as well with Etan.
Right.
And so I pretty much the last 2 years, I don't think I remember really raising my voice to you much. I don't think, if any. And so I think that's the adjustment sometimes you make, whereas, there's some players that need a push. And usually if I'm yelling at players, not because they're making mistakes usually, it's because they're either not working hard enough, which is something you can't do, or they're not playing together or being a good teammate, being unselfish. But those are the things as a coach you get mad about. A guy throwing the ball away, that happens. That's part of basketball.
Right.
But, if you do the same mistake, make the same mistake over and over again, then I guess, that's when coaches raise the temperature a little bit.
Right.
And we just told you that, and now you did it again, and then you did it again.
Yeah.
So, I always thought with you, I thought you're so even keeled that I thought sometimes you needed a push to go after people more because you were a physical player.
Right.
And so you got to use that physical. It's not enough to have it. You got to use it. And so I always felt early in your career that you needed a little bit more of a push to get after people. And obviously you succeeded and became the best shot blocker and defensive player in the Big East Conference for 2 years and went on to have great success. So not bad for a kid from Oklahoma that the high school had to call me to see if we could recruit him because Oklahoma didn't recruit him.
Well, that was after my freshman year. I was young then, but I knew where I wanted to go though. So, and that's, Coach Harris passed away. But I remember when he called you and he's like, I got a guy that is interested in you. And it was after my freshman, so I hadn't really played that much then. He was like, nope, nobody's recruiting him yet. No, he hasn't really played yet. And you're like, well, what am I missing here, Coach? But he said, keep your eye on him.
I got on the plane, went to Tulsa. That was a good move. Today, if somebody called me from Oklahoma and said they had a play, I might not get on the plane. I don't know.
So last question is about the outlook for this year. I'm excited about the team. I was really someone who, I have big man bias. So I was happy for Sidibe's, emergence, especially towards the end of that year. I was there against the game against North Carolina where he had the really good game. That was John Wallace's retirement ceremony game. And just talk about his development and just what you expect, from the team as a whole.
Well, the biggest thing with our team is having 6 out of our first 7 guys back. Even though we lose Elijah Hughes, who's a great player, we got 6 guys back, and that's unusual in college basketball. Our starting backcourt is back. Our starting forward and center. Our backup forward, Quincy is back. Guerrier is back. We've added 2 really good pieces, a freshman point guard and a transfer, Alan Griffin, who's a really good player from Illinois. So we've got 7 guys that are really experienced players, and that helps. Barama and Marek both gained 20 pounds, which you don't expect to see that going into your senior year. But I think that's where the pandemic probably helped us a little bit. They had to not work out for a while and eat, and so I think they had some weight. We all do when we don't work out, and I think they're much better. I think Joe and Buddy backcourt got stronger. They got their year experience. The last game at North Carolina that we played in the ACC tournament.
Oh, y'all gave it in the business. That was great to see.
Play the best we could play.
Yeah, that was fantastic. That was right before. That was right for Corona, before.
Next day we were done. Played our best. We're done the next day, but to beat North Carolina by 30 points, you just don't do that. And so I think the team came together, and I think we've got that momentum. and guys have just improved. That's what I look for. When you get a team and you got a lot of guys back, did they improve? Yes, they've all improved. So this will be a fun year. We just got to, get through it, be able to play games and, keep everybody healthy and test negative.
That's negative. That's right. How about Jesse? I was head of the Free Jesse campaign last year.
Yeah.
How's Jesse doing?
He's got to get stronger. That was his biggest problem. When you're 7 foot tall and you weigh 210 pounds, it just doesn't work. You know that.
Right.
He wants to make the play. He's got a skill set, but he just gets bumped out of the way. He's much stronger. I think it's still a process. He's still got to get a little stronger. But, Barama is ready. We've got another freshman big guy. We can still play Marek in the center some of the time. But it's a really well-balanced team. We've got good scoring. We've got, we were 21st in the country in offensive efficiency last year. It was our defense that was bad. We were 100. And, one of the things we didn't have last year, which we've had for years with you and a lot of other guys, we didn't block many shots, and that hurt. Right. And so I think our zone's going to be better. And I think we'll move up defensively. That's important. Right. You were here, you anchored it. We were in the top 20 in defense every year because we had you anchoring in the middle, and we haven't had that. Barama, when we weighed 210 pounds last year.
Right.
We're 230 now, 228. So I think we'll be better because of the maturity of our players and their experience. So I think it's going to be a fun team to watch.
So and this is the last one I'll ask. I won't keep you off forever. But when I was there, we had Bernie Fine doing the big man drills, and them drills are great. I still use them with my big men now with AAU. I think they're great. Banging them, the heavy ball and gloves and stuff like that. I think it's great stuff. We have, of course, had Coach Orr, who worked with us on our quickness and our forward stuff. Do you utilize any of those Bernie drills anymore, or did that leave?
No, we use body balance drills, rebounding drills, same one.
Okay, all right, that's good stuff.
Catch, low post moves, all that stuff we use. We don't use the gloves anymore, but we do everything else. And we work 30 minutes every day on individual work. Every day, all year long. The guards are in a group, the forwards, and then the big guys are in a group. And so we're trying to develop each player to be the best player he can be, and then as a result, we can be the best team. If you're the best individual you can be, and we can put you into the team, then we're going to have a great team, and that's what our goal is. It always has been.
That's great. And I'm looking for big things from you, buddy. Every year you add something more to your game. I tell you, I'm watching, so I'm paying attention. So what's going to be the new thing that you add to your game this year? I'm gonna put you on the spot because each year you've added something new and you improved. I like the way you started attacking the basket. Especially towards the end of last year, because before your jump shooting down the drone dribble pull up was good, the 2 dribble pull up was good. Then you started attacking going all the way. So what's the new thing you're going to add this year?
Yeah, I think just overall, I think I'm better in just about every aspect. I mean, I got a lot more athletic, stronger, quicker. I think I'm moving better on defense. Attacking the rim better, making plays, and just trying to make more plays, get more assists, get more rebounds, and be a better overall player. And I think I'm shooting it a little better again. I shot off quicker, and I think just overall being a better athlete helps a lot, and getting to my spots and, getting to the rim, making plays.
That's the biggest thing. I think he's getting his shot off quicker. That'll help him. And I think he's going by people. Eric has helped him with that, his driving. I think he's getting angles better and getting by people better. And that's what you hope from your players. I remember you coming in, and you're a pretty raw athlete, and how you worked at the game and got better. And I think you got better every year you were here. And, we hope that for all of our players. And Buddy has gotten better.
That's good. I also got beat up by Otis my freshman year, so I learned I had to get in the weight room. So that really helped too. Hey, Coach and Buddy, thanks a lot for doing this. Thanks for coming on. And be safe and keep testing negative. Everything that y'all doing, just keep testing negative. And say hi to Julie again for me too.
Thanks,
definitely.
Oh, there she goes. How you doing, Julie?
Great talking to you too.
All right, good talking to you. Have a good one.
Hey, you too.
All right.